Namaste one and all. Today I am going to discuss about National Education Policy 2020. So the National Education Policy 2020 has been approved by Union Cabinet yesterday, and what this new National Education Policy and teacher education, how it affects teacher education, or in what areas of teacher education is influenced by new education policy 2020 is the topic or subject of this presentation. So we all see the past, the draft of this education policy, and we all know that the policy has been formulated, the draft has been formulated on the basis of the Sustainable Development Goal 4 proposed by UN as its agenda to be realized by 2030. So in that background, this policy has been drafted and now it got approved. So that's the background. So it's the time to move ahead. So the policy on education, it's an exclusive policy on education, and hence it's significant for teachers and teacher education in total, because it concerned about education for us teachers. It's significant. The whole document, the whole policy is significant for all of us, and it is better that all should read and discuss about this policy in detail. So according to the policy, the teacher must be at the center of the fundamental reforms in the education system. So the policy is visualized about teachers like this, and now we see what are the major changes and what are the major areas in which the new policy influence teacher education as well as teachers. So the first category is the structural changes. The structural changes put forth suggested by this policy at school level as well as at teacher education level. Both these levels will influence us teachers. So in school level, there is a restructuring of pattern is proposed. The new pattern, as you already know, is the 5+3+3+4 pattern. So we are familiar with standard 1 to 12th pattern, the elementary, secondary, all pattern. And in most of the states in India, it followed such a pattern. And now what happens is the preschool system of education also is added up with the school system. So it's the need of the hour. So because it will ensure the large majority of children will get at least one-time meal from their school. So, and as well as it considered as a preparatory phase at that preschool, and the first and second standard as a preparatory stage for the further education. So at school level, there is such a structural change that all the preschool education should come into a uniform pattern, and it should be added up with the school system. And at teacher education level, we already experienced that the NCTE directives for integrated teacher education program, all the 2-year education, B.Ed education is under transformation already, and some institutions already initiated such integrated teacher education programs. So all teacher education institutions shall be transformed into composite multidisciplinary institutions by 2030. That's a policy suggested, and that is going to happen. So the standalone institutions exclusively for teacher education will gradually be either converted to multidisciplinary institution or will shut down. And education departments in universities and colleges. So that is the future of teacher education. So both the B.Ed also is coming to universities, because there is a structural change in higher education system as well, because most of the colleges will be transformed into some kind of universities or autonomous colleges, etc. So the education departments, the teacher education colleges will be changed into education departments in universities and colleges. So the functional changes. So regarding the functional aspects, the major change is the curricular level. Curricular level changes. There are two curriculums. That curriculum framework is going to happen in the near future. That is NCFSC, National Curriculum Framework for School Education, and National Curriculum Framework for Teacher Education by the next academic year. So that should be a major change and an immediate change that going to happen at the curricular level. And this will definitely influence the teachers as well as teacher education programs. And the vision is that for an integrated approach and a competency or skill-based approach than learning a huge mass of content. So outcome-based or competency-based system, competency-based curriculum is proposed, suggest. So in that background, such curriculum frameworks may be proposed. So at the assessment level also it is expected by 2022-23 academic year, the academic year after the next. So that also is in near future. So we have to prepare for that also. The assessment shall be transformed as more holistic, from the continuous assessment to holistic assessment. And there is flexibility for students is also proposed, that best 2 attempts may be contributed to their final grade. So a number of attempts or shall be provided. So the assessment shall be more flexible, so the learner can, in order to reduce the pressure of assessment on learners. So naturally, the more and more attempts are provided for students, that pressure will be naturally on teachers. So we have to find out alternative solutions to overcome that extra pressure or extra burden of more and more assessments. Then there is another major shift is 2 level of test system. One is a standard level as well as a higher level. So there will be a minimum standard level for all students, and as well as a further higher level for those who are interested. So such a system also is proposed. So that also we have to taken care of. Then there is a PARAC, that is a body for national level assessment monitoring system, and that also is going to establish, and under that national and state level achievement surveys are going to be conducted, and all such things, all such institutions and activities are proposed in the assessment program. So the assessment is a very critical issue or a critical area in any of the education system, and here it is proposed to transform the assessment into a holistic one, and a national level agency is proposed for that assessment. So the changes in professional areas, that professional changes. So the NEP consider teacher as the high respect of teachers and high status of teaching must be restored. So that's the vision of NEP. So it's a great concern for teachers, and that that demands, of course, newer capacities. It's a minimum 50 hours of continuous professional development will be made mandatory for all teachers. So it's a minimum 50 hours that will be implemented soon. And there will be a professional standard setting body. So that's the new name for NCTE, PSSB, and that PSSB will develop a national professional standards for teachers, and it will be developed by 2022. So the academic year after the next, it will get initiated, and as well as they are going to implement a performance appraisal system. Definitely such system will be introduced. So such a system is going to come. That also we have to taken care of how to perform better. That increases the pressure of teachers. So what about the future? So regarding the future, we need very, very thorough planning. So don't wait to something going to happen. So we have to anticipate things and plan in advance. Then only we have to survive. It's a very critical condition for teachers, and whether what happens to the teaching community. So we need an advanced planning to withstand or sustain, to enhance our performance. So the teacher education colleges are going to transform us only as departments of education. There will be a psychological issue that from the part of from a position of a college to only as a department in a college or a department in a university is some kind of psychological issue. And now or never situation that I already mentioned, that it's a very critical stage, because the position of teachers is now greatly challenged by different kinds of learning apps and learning platform, learning corporates. All those things are coming into the system of education, in the field of education, field of instruction, as well as evaluation. So it's a very, very critical condition. So we have to consider all those things and to empower ourselves for our survival. Then the newer capacities, we have to acquire new capacities, especially for learning management, assessment, etc. So, and some expectations, some missing, I think, this in these policies, because under professional programs, teacher education is excluded from professional programs. So it's an expectation that teacher education may be identified as a professional program, and education departments as center for professional development of faculty in higher education. So it's these two shall be the future expectation regarding this when these policies get implemented. That's all about the basic changes, basic suggestions, proposals by the new education policy 2020 on teacher education. Thanks for watching. Thank you.